Hi everyone, it's Lisa from Lizzie's Creative Cabin, and today I thought you might be quite interested to see an altered book that I made. I made it quite a long time ago. I've only ever made two altered books. This one, which was the first, and then the second one was one that I made for my granddaughter's 18th birthday. I can't show you that because she doesn't live near me and she's got it, obviously. So this was my first. I learned a lot doing this. Everything in this was a test, really. If you want to see some really good altered books, the person I've learnt from is Laurie Marie Jenkins. She's got a YouTube channel. Her books are absolutely amazing. So take a look at her. That's where I've got all my inspiration from. But as I say, I think I made this probably 6 or 7 years ago. It was the first one I ever made. I would like to make some more, but I've really got sort of caught up in journaling more than just doing altered books. But I thought anyway, as I say, you might want to have a look through it. So I've used a normal vintage book. I prefer vintage books. I prefer vintage books for using for my journals as well, because I love the thickness of the paper. You can use any book though. It doesn't have to be a vintage book. The idea with these, how you set them up, and as I say, Laurie Marie Jenkins has got lots of how-to videos. How you set them up is you take out lots of the pages, so you only have a few left because they do bulk out. You'll see how few pages I've actually got in here as we go through. But you need to keep more pages than you need to use, because what you do is you stick them together to give them some rigidity, using glue, clamp them together, and that works really well then. But I haven't got in here very many pages at all, you'll see. So the first thing to show you is the cover. I left the cover till last. It's got a base layer on it of some map pages, which you can just see through, and then over the top I've used some serviettes with birds on, and you get sort of that wrinkle effect, and then I've inked it a little bit over the top to give it an aged effect as well. Mod Podge is your friend. It's completely covered in it all the way through. The whole book is. I got through no end doing this. The ribbon to secure it is through the spine. You can see that. I've just stuck some more tape over the top of it, and then the back is exactly the same. The ribbon is just a wide ribbon which I've stamped on using black ink and stamps, rubber stamps, and then again put some more inks and things like that on it, paints, just to age it again. So if we open it up, as I say, this is the first time I've ever done one, so it's not the best in the world, but at the time I remember being quite pleased with it. If I was doing one now, I would probably do it in a completely different way. I have learnt a lot just from doing my journaling, so I think I've moved on since I did this. But the basis for the pages, and this is the method that Laurie Marie Jenkins teaches you if you watch her videos, and I have gone back and watched all of her videos, there's loads on there on her channel, is that you use what she calls underpants initially on the pages. So that is ripped up pieces of book pages, magazine pages, whatever you've got, newspaper, whatever, and putting a layer down. So you just rip smaller pieces and put a layer down. That immediately gives you this layering, which it's amazing how that adds depth to the page. And then you just paint and collage over the top of that, creating backgrounds and focal points. So this focal point here is a lady I've cut out from a magazine. It's a statue. I think it must have come from an antiques magazine or something like that. And then I've painted over the top. In this book I used mostly acrylic paints, I think, from memory. This is a bit out of a magazine. And then I've drawn over the top using a white marker pen, and aged a lot of the papers as well using distress inks and paints. This here, this is raised. If you can see, you probably can't see, but this is raised, and that's because it's the bit that I cut out from here. And this is an inset of aluminium, some kind of aluminium, which I think will have come from a drinks can. And then I've used a bradawl or something like that just to make the punches in it, the pattern. So really simple. I never, well, very rarely buy anything. I just use old scraps and things that I've already got. So this page here, there's 2 pockets. There's an old map in the back, and then I've printed this on some old book paper with alphabet stamps and just normal black ink. The world is your oyster. You can see the highlights all round with the white dots again from the marker pen. This is a couple of things that I printed out using from a photocopier, just in black and white. So there's the skull and then some feathers in the shape of the wings that I've put in the background, and then I've coloured in over the top with felt pens just to make it look like the Day of the Dead in Mexico. And this is just strips of different tissue papers in the background there to create the pockets. That's an old postcard, and then some tags here. Now, the one that I made for my granddaughter for her birthday was based around our family history. So a lot of the focal points and things like that were from photos, old vintage photos from our family of my grandparents and great-grandparents. And also I put my family tree in there for her, things like that. But I also explained to her that she could use it to keep things in herself. So, I mean, you could use it very easily like a journal. This is more just about the artwork for me, but they're ideal for journaling. It's like that extra step. It's an art journal, I guess. Here there's just a little bit of old chain that's stuck on there from a broken necklace or bracelet or something. This is just a collage from magazines. Excuse me. So all the backgrounds are made in the same way, really. It's just that they've been painted in different colours. So this has got tissue on it. You can see this pattern of strips of tissue. Again, some packaging there. It's just off a piece of packaging which is sandwiched between the 2 pages. This is just some old broken jewellery, and this again is an old charm from something. What I do is I collect, and I've got a couple of drawers of these. I'll just show you one. I collect bits and bobs of broken stuff, old decorations, old bits of jewellery, anything. It's not all sparkly. There's all sorts in here. I find them in the street. Doesn't matter. I'll pick them up and keep them because you never know when you might want them. Buttons, just all sorts. Broken earrings, shell there. I shall put that in my shell drawer thinking about it. So I have no idea what I'm going to use them for initially when I get them, when I pick them up and find them. But if I need something, I can usually find something suitable. So that's all that would have been. Turning the page again. See, this one carries on to that one. So work hard, play harder. Again, just a collage from a magazine. This background, I've drawn on all of these lines that you can see there with just a fine liner pen. And another collage, different background, splatter background. This here is some pattern duct tape which I've used to secure the spine because of the pages that I've taken out, but it is also very attractive because they make them in all sorts of patterns, don't they? All these are stuck onto a straightforward picture, and then I've added things on just to add interest to it. And again here, some use of some see-through packaging. I've painted a clown face on it just to add to that, and I've done a hat. That's a real feather actually that I've put in there. That's a bit of washi tape across there to create a band around the hat. And you can see again in the background there's bits of book page, bits of music sheet. You can see the thickness of the pages here. There's 2 or 3 pages stuck together now, and they're really rigid. It's more of a board, but it does give you a really good background if you're painting and things like that. This page here actually is one that Laurie Marie Jenkins actually did in like a tutorial video on her YouTube channel. As I say, she's got hundreds of videos on there. You can go back and watch them all if you like. I did. I learnt so much from her. I mean, her books are superb. But all you do with this is you stick lots of tiny bits of coloured paper on a piece of paper, and then you cut out a spiral and just stick it on. As in this flower effect, it looks like a rose. And then these are just that I've cut out from a magazine, from some trees and a photo in a magazine. I've cut out the leaves. The background is literally just my stamping, some more book pages and music, sheet music. You can see that there. But it does give a really good effect. These are just strips that are cut out of a magazine. I've actually stuck some together to make it stronger, because you can use them as a tuck spot. This one here, I've got a tag behind that one, and it's just used with stencils there, my stencils, and some tissue and paint. I love this page. This is one of my favourite pages. I remember that. I remember making this one. So this lady's cut out from an advert in a magazine for perfume, I think, and then I've just stuck some insects on, so she's holding them. It was supposed to be like Mother Nature or something like that. And I've created a halo using faux gold leaf, my stamping in the background, the underpants that you can see through, same as usual. This shading is just done with like a charcoal pencil or something like that, just to add a bit of oomph to make the image stand forward. And you can see that it's actually been used on pretty much all of the pictures, just to make the images stand forward. It's a very easy but effective trick. This is using a border punch on the edge of the page. And again, here you can see collage, a face from a magazine, and then the flowers that are stuck on the top. Different paint colour on this one. Orange is my favourite colour. Orange and green, my two favourite colours. What I've got here, I'll show you on here to create some extra texture, is this stuff. I have no idea what it's called, but I've got it in a great big roll. I think I got it from eBay. It is old. It's like a vintage stuff. I don't know what it's used for. I think it might be used in on plasterboard to put over joins and then plaster over it. I don't know. It's something like that. It's used in building, I think. But I've just used it on here. You can see it creates a lovely texture and depth to it, and then I've just painted over the top of it. And then there's a fold there. I've added this onto the end of the tape and the end of the page, and then just stuck it on. On this page, again, it's cutouts from magazines. So there's Elvis, legs and things. It's a different paint background, multicoloured paint background. These are just circles that have been painted separately and then stuck on. And then I've added the words, which I've printed with, I've stamped with a different stamp. Do something worth remembering. This here, some more gold leaf and some sequins, but this is some cotton wool to make the ermine for his crown that I've just added dots using a black felt pen. So it's all simple stuff. It's just knowing the tricks, isn't it, I guess. This page, I started with this, which I found in a magazine, this picture of this tattooed lady. I've coloured it in because it wasn't coloured in, so I've just added a bit of colour to make her tattoos pop a little bit more. But this is like a Victorian image of a tattooed lady, I think, from a sideshow or something. And then I've just added some more like trapeze and things like that, just to give that circus effect. More stamping in the background, stenciling, and just a pink and white colour scheme to that one, the writing over with the white pens. And then this is the final page. So this one uses a different technique, which Laurie Marie uses a lot in her books, which is stuck together lots of the pages there to give you like a really bit thick board, and that enables you to then cut out and have a little hidden box where you can put things in. I've got nothing in it at the moment, but I think I did have when I first did it. There's more stamping, and then you can see that I've used pictures here. It's not just, doesn't have to be just text from books and things, you can use adverts and things like that as well, old adverts as the background, so it adds a bit of depth. And then attached an old key to that and created a door. So that's it. Pretty straightforward and simple, really. It took me ages. I didn't rush it. I did it over a period of time because I was finding my way. I was learning as I went and practicing. So I think it was actually quite successful, if nothing more, as a way of learning new techniques. I do really wish to do some more of these. I don't know if I'll get round to it. It's one of the things on my wish list. But anyway, as I say, I thought that some of you might find that interesting if you've never done altered books before and you're sort of thinking, well, could I do it? You can do it, because I'd never done it before, and it is actually quite easy, I think, to get something that's quite nice to look at and impressive, really. When people look at it, they think you're really clever, you know, and that's really good, but in actuality, I've just followed the techniques. I've not had to do any drawing of my own because I'm not particularly good at that. It's all collage and paint effects. So have a go. I hope you found that interesting. Thank you for watching.